my shot. I'ma get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but dag, I'm amazed and astonished. The problem is I got a lot of brains but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard with every word. I drop knowledge, I'm a diamond in the rough, a shining piece of coal, trying to reach my goal. My power of speech, unimpeachable. Only 19, but my mind is older. These New York City streets get colder. I shoulder every burden, every disadvantage I've learned to manage. I don't have a gun to brandish. I walk these streets famished. The plan is to fan this spark into a flame. But damn, it's getting dark, so let me spell out the name. I am the A-L-E-X-A-N-D-E-R. We are meant to be a colony that runs independently. Meanwhile, Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. Then King George turns around, runs a spending spree. He ain't never gonna set his descendants free. So there will be a revolution in this century. Enter me,
he says in parentheses.
Don't be shocked when your history book mentions me. I will lay down my life if it sets us free. Eventually, you'll see my ascendancy. And I am not thrown away, my shot. I am not thrown away, my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not thrown away, my shot. I am not thrown away, my shot. I am not thrown away, my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not thrown away, my shot. It's time to take a shot.
I dream of life without a monarchy. The unrest in France will lead to anarchy. Anarchy, how you say? Anarchy. When I fight, I make the other side panicky with my
shot. Yo, I'm a tailor's apprentice, and I got y'all knuckleheads and local parentis. I'm joining a rebellion, cause I know it's my chance to socially advance. Instead of sewing some pants, I'm gon' take a shot.
But we'll never be truly free until those in bondage have the same rights as you and me. You and I do or die. Wait till I sally in on a stallion with the first black battalion. Have another shot.
Geniuses, lower your voices. You keep out of trouble and you double your choices. I'm with you, but the situation is fraught. You've got to be carefully taught. If you talk, you're gonna get shot.
Bird, check what we got. Mr. Lafayette, hard rock like Lancelot. I think your pants look hot. Lawrence, I like you a lot. Let's hatch a plot blacker than the kettle calling the pot. What are the odds that God will put us all in one spot? Pumping a squad in conventional wisdom, like it or not. A bunch of revolutionary manumission abolitionists. Give me a position, show me where the ammunition is. Oh, am I talking too loud? Sometimes I get overexcited, shoot off at the mouth. I never had a group of friends before. I promise that I'll make y'all proud.
Let's get this guy in front of a crowd.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
There's nothing rich folks love more than going downtown and slumming it with the poor. They pull up in their carriages and gawk at the students in the common just to watch them talk. Take Philip Schuyler, the man is loaded. Uh-oh, but little does he know that his daughters, Peggy, Angelica, Eliza, sneak into the city just to watch all the guys at
work. Angelica, work. Eliza, and Peggy, the Schuyler's sisters. Angelica, Peggy, Eliza, work. Daddy said to be home by sundown. Daddy doesn't need to know. Daddy said not to go downtown. Like I said, you're free to go. But look around, the revolution's happening in New York. Angelica, work. It's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war. People shouting in the square. It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shore. New ideas in the air. Look around. Angelica, remind me what we're looking for. Eliza, I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work. Whoa, 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 work.
Ooh, there's nothing like summer in the city. Someone in a rush next to someone looking pretty. Excuse me, miss, I know it's not funny, but your perfume smells like your daddy's got money. While you slumming in the city in your fancy heels, you searching for an urchin who can give you ideals.
Sir, you disgust me.
Ah, so you disgust me. I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me.
I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. So men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, I'ma compel him to include women in the sequel. Work! Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be
birthplace of radio's greatest era. Live from New York, it's Radio Night Live with Kevin McCullough. Wait, who?
Kevin McCullough, let me start with you.
The big dog, Kevin McCullough.
And Kevin McCullough.
No, who?
Nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
Who? Kevin McCullough?
Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
What?
Barack Obama's Dismantling Hope and Change and CEO of Extreme Media.
Oh.
All right, so glad to have you with us. Kevin McCullough welcoming you into a Saturday night. We have got a lot on tap for you tonight. Bethany Mandel, Liz Peek, Inez Stepman, and music tonight from Cody Johnson. And a little bit later, Reba McEntire are going to join Cody in the Music Spotlight from the new Music Spotlight stage. We've got so many new things tonight, and I'm so glad to have you with us. Thank you for making us your choice on this Saturday evening. I know you've got a lot of different things that compete for your attention, but we are just truly glad to have you here. Thank you so much. And welcoming to the new Salem News Channel audience that's joining us, in addition to the great audiences on radio stations across the country, Biz TV and over-the-air television network, and tonight what's called over-the-top television on Roku. You can get the Salem News Channel. You can download the app. You can get it in any number of ways. And for those of you that are big fans of Mike Gallagher and Hugh Hewitt and so forth, we are the new Saturday night feature here, and glad to have you with us. So thank you for joining in. Coming up, let's go to the big board. Bethany Mandel is going to join me in the next segment. We are going to talk about a brand new book series that is called Heroes of Liberty that she is the editor of, and what happened with Facebook over the last week when they tried to take away this very simple book publisher's ad rights on Facebook. Why did they do that? These are biographical sketches of historical figures like John Wayne and Ronald Reagan and Amy Coney Barrett and a couple of others. I have no idea what the thinking there is. But Bethany will join us, and she'll go into detail with it for us, why Facebook did that. Then we will be visiting with Phil Boyce, who heads up the operations at the Salem News Channel. He's not pictured on the big board tonight. Liz Peek will be joining us to talk about resolutions that the Biden administration should make for the new year. There's no real question that they've gotten things about as backwards as could be had. So we're going to need them to actually step up their game a bit. She's got some suggestions for them on how to do that. And then in the second hour, Inez Stepman is one of the editors at the Bright Email. Now, if you've never heard me talk about the Bright Email, I'm sorry. I love this publication. It is put out 5 days a week, a different editor each day, and she does the Wednesday edition. Great stuff that you can't get anywhere else, from perspectives that you truly don't see represented anywhere else in commentary. So we're excited about that. And then, as I made mention, Cody Johnson with us. He has 2 songs in the top 15 of the country tonight. And you'll hear both of them from the new music stage here at Radio Night Live. So we're looking forward to that as well. Now, let me get to the story that was really the story that everybody should have been paying attention to yesterday. The vaccine mandates went before the Supreme Court. You had the court cases coming up through 2 different circuits. I think actually technically 3, because there was a case that came out of Florida, but you had the 5th and the 6th district that had kind of split on whether or not these vaccine mandates should be allowed to go forward. But more specifically, should they be allowed to have an injunction placed against them until the issue of their ultimate constitutionality is decided. And the Supreme Court, in this day in which we live, the new era that we are in, which is kind of cool, they actually let us peek in on their proceedings, audio only this week. But I was shocked. And I don't get shocked very easily. In fact, I get surprised very few times anymore in reality when it comes to public policy. But I was abhorrently shocked with how badly the Supreme Court justices that are to the left of center had their facts on anything related to COVID. The kinds of things that were coming out of their mouths were truly extraordinary. Let me give you probably the most significant example of this. This is audio from Sonia Sotomayor, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court.
have hospitals that are almost at full capacity with people severely ill on ventilators. We have over 100,000 children, which we've never had before, in serious condition, and many on ventilators.
That is a sitting Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, either flat out lying to the counsel that she's questioning or just doesn't know the facts. But Sonia Sotomayor, with straight face, before she went to dinner, by the way, with a bunch of Democrat senators from the Senate last night. Kind of weird that she would be having dinner with elected senators in the midst of this big case. But anyway, that's a different story. But she says flat out there that there are hundreds of thousands of hospitalized kids because of COVID, because of Omicron, because of what we're dealing with right now, and that many of them are on ventilators. Friends, the percentage of children that are currently hospitalized with COVID nationwide is less than 1,000. But don't let that bother you, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Just go ahead and make stuff up and pull it out of thin air. You know, whatever strikes your fancy. Well, there's 100,000 gajillion million tonight kids that are, and it's not just Sonia Sotomayor. This is getting to be a habit with those that are left of center, and particularly in the Washington bubble. I'm going to talk about this in the second hour in the monologue there, but we've got just sample after sample of just bald-faced ignorance or lying, and I don't know which it is, that is coming out of Washington these days. But that was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for the court, because normally we think of the Supreme Court justices as being, even if we disagree with their judicial preference or philosophy or kind of the way they execute their duties as a justice, we still believe that most of the time they're well informed on the issues. When Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Justice Scalia were both sitting on the Supreme Court, they disagreed only 4 out of 10 times on average. In other words, they were in agreement 60% of the time, even on the outcomes of cases. Now, there are some big cases where if they disagree, it comes out to a fairly significantly different outcome. But I cannot tell you how just utterly absurd it is for an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court to say yesterday that there were hundreds of thousands of children that are hospitalized and that they're being ventilated. Very few people are being ventilated anymore when it comes to COVID. Ventilators are not the way you deal with COVID, and it's taken us 2 years to figure that out, but we mostly have figured that out. There are other ways to get oxygen into the body that don't destroy the lungs when the lungs are being hashed up by a virus to begin with. We should have known a little bit more about that before we were doing that. 8 out of 10 people that went on ventilators ended up dying, mostly because we weren't using the ventilators properly. That's not entirely the doctor's part. They were following guidance that they were being given. But I'm saying we've kind of learned from our error in that regard. So for the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court to, with straight face, try to argue with the counsel that's bringing these cases before them and say that there are 100,000 children, many of whom are on ventilators, it's just absurd. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to we the people. She's supposed to know things more thoroughly than that. Now, that's kind of the bad side of what happened in the Supreme Court yesterday. Let me tell you what I thought was good. And I didn't monitor all of the proceedings, but I did a great deal kind of in and out throughout the day. I thought really good questions got asked by Justice Thomas, Justice Barrett, Justice Alito. Even Justice Roberts asked what I thought were legitimate probing questions about things regarding executive power and legality. Brit Hume said on social media, it's really funny. It seemed like that the left of center justices and the administration's lawyers were trying to make public policy arguments. They don't argue public policy in the Supreme Court. What they are deciding is, does this executive order fit a legal standard? It is a legal standard that they are measuring here, not a should they have passed this or should they not have passed this. And by the way, that's one of the big legal hurdles for the administration, in that Congress wasn't consulted, did not have buy-in, and there was no legislative element to what we are now arguing. So I don't make a practice of predicting the Supreme Court, but based on the questions I heard and kind of where the probe was going, I felt somewhat confident that they are under the understanding that this mandate to force employers to do something with their employees doesn't seem to really fit a constitutional framework. Look, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it, and we'll go from there. It wouldn't be the first time that I've gotten something wrong over time. But I will tell you, it did not seem to me to be a good day for the executive order. All right, Kevin McCullough, when we come back, we're going to talk about some heroes of liberty with Bethany Mandel. Stay here.
Coming to theaters January 21st, Redeeming Love.
Topple one of those ships and sail away.
Why don't you think about where we would go?
Far.
I was just thinking about my mother. Shattered.
You are not here.
What's your pleasure, mister?
The truth is, I didn't come here for the bad.
You have been broken, you're innocent.
Redeeming Love, based on the best-selling novel by Francine Rivers.
That's Angel, finest girl west of the Rockies.
A life-changing story of the power of relentless love and perseverance. Redeeming Love shows there is no brokenness love can't heal.
That way is home. Your choice.
Redeeming Love. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters January 21st. Go to redeeminglovemovie.com.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. You've heard us talk about the amazing offer that MyPillow is offering you right now, right? Only $34.99 a pillow. That's the lowest price ever offered on radio TV. When you get a 2-pack of MyPillow Premiums for only $69.98, ever since I've been sleeping on my MyPillow, I don't get interrupted sleep anymore. I don't have to worry about folding my pillow in half or stacking up a whole bunch of lifeless pillows underneath it to give me the right support. Comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty, and it's made in the USA. Do you have a pillow that comes with a 10-year warranty? Get a 2-pack of MyPillow Premiums for $69.98 right now. That's only $34.99 per pillow, which again is the lowest price ever offered on radio or TV. This offer is only available at MyPillow.com or when you call 800-506-2641. That's 800-506-2641. Promo code KMC. 800-506-2641. And use the promo code KMC.
Brand new from beloved author Ivan Quinones comes a new children's book, Magnificent Ian and the Secret Lab, available now in paperback or Kindle from the Amazon Marketplace. One satisfied parent said, "The story is quite intriguing. The way it develops leaves you waiting for the next adventure. Magnificent Ian is such a fun book. I would highly recommend it for children grades 2 through 5. Another said, "I barely got the book out of the package and my son immediately grabbed it and ran off to read it." In Magnificent Ian and the Secret Lab, Ian finds a secret lab in the middle of an active volcanic island, run by a crazy scientist who tasks him with widening a secret tunnel. There's suspense, action, adventure, and a lesson about integrity. Available now on the Amazon Marketplace and the Amazon Kindle store. Magnificent Ian and the Secret Lab from author Ivan Quinones in paperback and Kindle form. Get your copy today. Magnificent Ian and the Secret Lab.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I ended up getting a cold after Thanksgiving, and usually it always goes to my chest. Not even usually, it just always goes to my chest, and I end up having to go to the doctor. This time I took 9 of the Balance of Nature for 2 days, and it totally cleared up. I was very impressed because every time I've gotten a cold for the past 5 years, it goes into my chest. And it didn't. It cleared up right away.
Don't wait to see what getting over 10 servings of whole fruits and vegetables every day can do for you. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order of fruits and veggies. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751 or by going to balanceofnature.com and make sure to receive the special radio offer by using discount code KMC.
And now, from New York, back to Radio Night Live. Here's Kevin McCullough.
All right, Kevin McCullough, very glad to have you with us. It has been a very busy week for my next guest. She is the editor of a new set of children's books, but she's also written for editorial outlets like the Washington Examiner, the New York Post, and she writes regularly for the Deseret and Ricochet. And Bethany Mandel rejoins us. Bethany, great to have you. Thanks for being back. What was it specifically that Facebook said was the rationale for why they needed to suspend the ads of your Heroes of Liberty series?
So they never gave us a rationale. They dinged us in the days leading up to Christmas, which was, like a huge opportunity for us financially. And they said your ads are low quality and disruptive content, and we've disabled not just your ad account, but also your ability to post on your own Facebook and Instagram pages. And this is a final decision, and there's no appeal process. And we didn't know what to do, so we made us think about it, and we were able. So
pause right there, because I want to stop on the first thing: disruptive content in your ads. How disruptive was the content of your ads? What was disruptive? Were you calling for mass execution of your political enemies? What was going on there?
So it's a children's book company,
right?
Extremely wholesome. Our first 3 books are about Thomas Sowell, Amy Coney Barrett, and Ronald Reagan. You cannot get more wholesome than our books. And the comments, what we think happened was there were people who didn't like the people that we consider to be heroes. And they were commenting that Ronald Reagan is a war criminal and a fascist. And so we think that those users probably reported our content. And then someone at Facebook saw their reports and agreed and enabled our account. So we were only able to regain access because the story gained enough traction in the media and among members of Congress who interceded on our behalf, and we're very grateful for that. That's the only reason we have our access back to our Facebook pages and Instagram pages and our ability to advertise again.
Well, it's interesting that they would take this approach, given the 3 people that you picked out. I mean, what is it about Ronald Reagan or Amy Coney Barrett or Thomas Sowell, for that matter, that is in the least bit controversial, if not for their just view of traditional values?
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, our books really, for example, the Thomas Sowell book really sort of spotlights the incredible life story that this famous economist had, from rags to riches, truly. And he did it on his own merits and by his own bootstraps. And that's a life story that we want to share with our children. There's absolutely nothing political about it, which is why we didn't think that we would run afoul of sort of Facebook censors, but then we did.
Well, it's interesting to see how things are interpreted. So you believe they actually objected to your content or to the content of these people's lives, of things that Ronald Reagan or Amy Coney Barrett have said or done that they, for some reason, disagreed with?
We have no idea, honestly. They will tell us it was an error and it was a mistake. So we have no idea what the internal thought process was whatsoever. And it might not have been like this sort of vast conspiracy against conservatives. What I think happened was that, there's the viewpoint ideologically from the majority of the rank and file Facebook employees is extremely woke and progressive. And so they sort of went along with their own ideological beliefs and shut down our account. But we're not the only conservatives who have had our account shut down. I've heard from a number of other conservatives. A clothing company called Bring Ammo told me that he had his Facebook shut down. Jason Greenblatt, he's a former Trump administration employee, and he has a really popular and wonderful podcast with Newsweek called The Diplomat. And he had the same thing happen to him. So this is a pattern.
Yeah. Well, and everyone knows, I mean, this is the week of the anniversary of January 6th, and everybody knows that Twitter took unprecedented steps in disconnecting the sitting president's Twitter account on January the 8th last year. And then following that, Facebook and the others said they were going to do that as well. And what opened up after that was an all-out war on sites like Parler and others. I'm just curious, Bethany, a year later, you've seen what's happened, and you've seen, and I was victim of the Twitter purge. I had just hit 150,000 followers on Twitter. And they suspended me the same day they suspended the president. There's been class action suits. There's been other media reports kind of pushing back. Do you see any type of accountability coming to big tech?
So I'm heartened by the fact that they were scared enough of members of Congress that they proactively reached out to those members and said we turned the account back on for Heroes of Liberty. I think that Facebook understands that they're skating on thin ice with Republican lawmakers, and I think they understand that they sort of have to act accordingly. And I hope that Republican lawmakers continue to hold their feet in the fire, especially when they regain control of the House and the Senate.
Do you think that there will be any substantive change, though, Bethany? Because we continue to hear these stories of people having their accounts suspended, and more often than not, it's not for anything. I mean, if you still have, for instance, chapters of Al-Qaeda and ISIS that are able to post the types of things they're able to post on social media, and yet the Heroes of Liberty book series, I mean, it's not quite equitable in terms of how they're thinking about these things.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, I think it's going to have to take a sea change of. We can't keep on fighting these battles one by one. It's going to have to take a larger movement against these big tech corporations, because they control the town square, they control public discourse, and they only control it in one direction and one way.
There have been several startups that have happened since January 8th of last year. I'm just curious, have you seen anything that you think might be a good conservative alternative or rival to some of the big four?
Not really. No. I mean, unfortunately, we've seen things pop up and down, and but I haven't. I'm not terribly impressed with anything I've seen.
I mean, even if they had success in drawing attention, you still. I mean, the beauty of something like a Twitter or Facebook is that you did interact with people who disagreed with you. And I think that is a genuine. And if we get to the place where we are only talking to the people that are of our own and like our own, then it's really just an echo chamber, and it's not really valuable for public discourse.
Yeah, that's how I feel also. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah. We need to change what we've got.
Give us a preview. What's coming up in Heroes of Liberty? Who's your next stories on deck?
So we have John Wayne coming up in February, and we are sort of trying to shift our business model a little bit to not be so reliant on big tech and their whims. And so we started a subscription business, so people can get our books every month right to their house without having to continue to buy them. So we have John Wayne coming in February, and then down the pike we have Alexander Hamilton and Margaret Thatcher. And then a little bit farther down the pike we have books about Winston Churchill and Douglas MacArthur and Rush Limbaugh. And that's in addition to the books that we have now about Ronald Reagan, Thomas Sowell, and Amy Coney Barrett.
And if people want to get the subscription ordered, where do they go? What do they do?
So everything is on heroesofliberty.com, and I can activate a promo code for your listeners, Kevin, and
sure.
they'll get 5% off.
Oh, cool.
But it's
so
at heroesofliberty.com.
Yeah, let's do KMC if you can, and we'll do
KMC. Sure,
yeah,
no problem.
we'll do a promo code for anybody listening or watching right now. KMC, get 5% off, and then get your Heroes of Liberty automatically delivered. I'm going to sign up immediately because I want the McCullough kids getting these every month as they are made available. Bethany Mandel, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Kevin McCullough coming right back. Don't go away. Spiking crime rates and restrictive gun laws put us all at risk. One feels unsafe just walking down the sidewalk. So what if there was a form of personal protection that did not require waiting periods, permits, or background checks? Small enough to carry concealed in a purse or a jacket, but powerful enough to stop an assailant. Introducing the Byrna HD, the non-lethal self-protection device that buys you valuable time in an unsafe situation. With a 5-round magazine, the Byrna HD fires the Byrna Max payload, a 68 caliber projectile loaded with pepper and tear gas irritant, disabling an assailant from being able to breathe freely or see clearly for up to several minutes. The CO2-powered launcher is accurate up to 60 feet. It's about the size of a 9mm and has a dual-handed safety valve. Ideal for men and women and safe for everyone, it's backed by a 60-day risk-free guarantee.
Go to Byrna.com/KMC for all the latest discounts and specials. That's BYRNA.com/KMC.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. You've heard us talk about the amazing offer